We are at the Monolithic Dome Institute in Italy, Texas, here in early December 2011, and I'm meeting with the founder, David South, and an associate, goes by the name of Johnny Delirious. And I've been learning a great deal about monolithic domes, the way they bring about a revolutionary way in the way people can live, in the way they can grow food, in the way they can get water, in the way they can generate their own electricity. It paints a big picture. We don't have time to describe all of that here in this video presentation. However, the news about this is spreading widely. There's been some meetings here recently talking about all the different components of technology that can make the average person be able to afford to live in their own home and produce their own energy, water, food, and it's an amazing thing. And David South, thanks for being with me today.
Thank
you. As well as
you,
Johnny.
Thank you.
And describe for me just a little bit about the founding of Monolithic Domes, what happened to get it going and why you got into this, and kind of, broad brushstrokes get us to where we are today.
Well, I got sucked into domes when I was still in high school. Buckminster Fuller had invented the geodesic dome, and he promised to be able to build big domes, cheap domes, safe domes. And I spent about 15 years tracking along trying to follow what he was doing, and I couldn't make it work. You could do the domes and things, but it wasn't until I came up with this concrete dome, where you build it with concrete, that you could now start to make what the promise was. Because now you can build buildings that are permanent. And if we look back in time, the Pantheon was built in 126 AD, and it's still in use. So we can build a building that's there. Number two, we started by using the urethane foam to insulate it. And I liked tell people I'm from Idaho and didn't know better, so I put the roof up first, and insulation under it, and then the concrete and steel under that, and I have my dome. And that way I could work inside all the time. And that's a revolutionary, because what it does is exactly that. You can build it in inclement weather, in terrible times, and when you get all done, the materials, it's a paradigm shift. You put the insulation on the outside of the mass, and you'll 2 to 5 times as better insulated building. And that's what this thing is. And that's why we do it. And I started my very first one in 1976. It was a potato storage in Idaho. And
appropriately enough?
Appropriate enough. It was 105 foot in diameter. It wasn't a little toy. It was a big building. And then I started. And the first year I only built 2. The next year I built quite a number of them. And by then I decided that's what I wanted, and I sold out my other business and went after the domes.
And I understand you got into some disaster relief overseas, and this accelerated everything and bringing you to where you are today, from helping those less fortunate that were impacted by disaster, and then onward into the future. And now you have a Domes of the World Foundation that goes that direction toward helping people understand the advantages of domes. You can learn to build your own at your institute here, or you can have them built for you. You have cabins that can be shipped to owners because they're the right size. They can be partially built, and the owners can finish them. You've got it to where this becomes a million blades of grass. It just seems to have all that tendency and potential to spread throughout the world, to have a new way of living where people become much more self-reliant, self-sufficient, not so dependent on imports and large corporations. It's amazing what we're seeing here. What is the status today with monolithic domes? In other words, how many have you built now to date, counting gymnasiums, community storm shelters, small dwellings, storage, whatever?
We're coming up towards 4,000 right now that we've built in 52 countries and 49 states. And
wow.
It's a paradigm shift in construction. It works on the little tiny ones. It works on the inexpensive ones. But the main thing of it is it's the next century. It's the construction for the 21st century, because we get away from fire as a problem. We get away from wind as a problem. They're tornado safe. They're earthquake safe. It's absolutely a paradigm shift in construction. It's the egg. You put an egg in your hands and you can't crush it. You do the same thing with this. We use half as much material. And that's why we train. That's why we teach. Because I want to see them around the world by the millions so that people can have the benefit.
That's an amazing vision, and a typical dome is literally built, ladies and gentlemen, to last about 500 years, and that's just an estimate. It could very well be a millennia. This is a quantum leap in construction, taking Buckminster Fuller's basic concepts, but finding the right materials and the right way of doing it to really make that vision happen, if I'm understanding this correct.
Absolutely.
Johnny, for your part in this, you help promote and create awareness about this. What are you seeing in terms of people's perception of this? We've had some meetings today about people that bring, wind turbine innovations to make people where they can supply their own power and even sell excess power to the grid. We're seeing all kinds of things, new materials, new innovations. Are you seeing this thing spread, a million blades of grass?
I sure do. And, to me, Monolithic is the sustainable leader. So, I live in a dome. And for me, I don't have to worry when there's a storm coming by. They have solutions for water, power, and air. So absolutely, you're not only safe, but you're self-reliant as well. And that's real freedom, because I'm all about real freedom, as you know. That's how I recovered. They wanted to take my liver. I kept my liver. And 18 years later, I don't have the virus, and that's real freedom. When you don't have to worry about a storm that's coming by, and you sleep very well.
Yeah, and freedom isn't just the absence of a tyrant, as I've often said. It's the introduction of a new mode of living along the lines that we're talking about today. And much more could be said about monolithic domes and domes for the world, of course. But I want to thank you guys.
Absolutely.
Johnny and David South, the founder.
Thank you.
Yeah, best of luck to you in making this thing grow like a billion blades of grass. And so a new mode of living and independence and pride, targeting poverty around the world, targeting storm-torn zones, earthquake-torn zones, making the world safer and healing the world from warfare in this age of perpetual war. There's so many plagues plaguing mankind now, but we don't just have to curse the darkness. We can talk about real solutions, and here at Monolithic Domes in Italy, Texas, real solutions are on their agenda every day. So we'll see you next time here on AmericanFreePress.net, also on behalf of Monolithic Domes.